The cost of living is increasing at an alarming rate, and middle-class Americans are struggling to keep up. Even those who used to have some financial security are now making difficult choices between essentials like food and utilities or health care. Middle-income earners are not seeing their real wages increase, but the cost of basic necessities and other everyday expenses continue to go up. This is leaving middle-class Americans worse off than ever before. Here are some things that more and more middle-class Americans can no longer afford. Before we begin, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notified of our new videos. Without further ado, here are 20 things the middle class can't afford anymore. 1. New vehicles. Given how much the prices of new cars and trucks have gone up, very few middle-class workers will be able to buy one in 2022. Kelley Blue Book says that the average price of a new car has jumped to an impressive $48,182 in the past year. With high interest rates, most middle-income earners, who each make $43,350 a year or around $130,000 for a family of 2 working adults, can afford to buy a new car or truck. Mike Santi, the managing editor of Interest.com, said, "Just because you can afford the monthly payment on a $30,000 or $40,000 ride doesn't mean you should spend so much of your paycheck on it." 2. Everyday expenses. A study that came out Thursday explains that housing and childcare are 2 things that are costing millions of Americans more than they can afford right now. A study by the United Way Alice Project found that 43% of U.S. households don't make enough money to pay for housing, food, childcare, health care, transportation, and a cell phone on a monthly budget. At the same time, real wages are falling because of inflation, which makes it harder for people to buy things. Since December 2020, the number of middle-income Americans who say their incomes aren't keeping up with their costs of living has gone up by 16 percentage points. In June 2022, that number will reach 75%. 3. Health care. Americans spend an average of $12.6 billion each year on medical care. This is a 10% increase over 2019 levels. Americans owe a total of $4.1 trillion in health care debt. Middle-income owners must choose between paying for food and utilities and medical care. According to a Feeding America research, 66% of households said they have to choose between putting food on their tables and heating their houses or seeking medical care, with 31% saying they have to make that option every month. 4. Go to college. Even though the average student loan debt is a huge $39,351, you should still go to college. The rising cost of education is too much for the middle class in the U.S. to keep up with. Between 2010 and 2020, the average amount of student loan debt grew by 97%. Now it's harder for middle-class families to get loans than was in the past. Unfortunately, because of this huge financial burden, millions of middle-class students have almost no guarantee that they will be able to live better than their parents. 5. To pay off debt. Money Scene found that the middle class's debt is growing much faster than their incomes, making it hard for workers to make ends meet each month. In 1980, the average consumer debt was $1,540 per person. This was 7.3% of the average household income of $21,100. By 2022, consumer debt had grown to $58,604, which was almost 60% of the average income of a household, which was $97,026 at that time. This means that between 1980 and 2022, debt has grown almost 500% faster than income. 6. Emergency savings. As the cost of living rises, fewer middle-class workers can save for emergencies. Only 1 in 7 middle-class households have 6 months of emergency savings, according to Bankrate. Over 25% have no emergency reserves, while the rest have tiny to moderate amounts but not enough for 6 months. 7. Divorce. Taking inflation into account, it costs more than 3 times as much to get a divorce in the U.S. today as it did 50 years ago. In 1970, the average cost of a divorce was $5,560. Today, ex-couples can spend up to $17,000 on each other. Pew Research says that people with kids can end up spending more than $30,000 on health care. 8. Brand name items. Families in the middle class have to spend less on name brands because their budgets are tight. Retail sales data from just July shows that brand name items were bought 28% less than they were in June. This is because middle-income shoppers are struggling to pay for even small luxuries. 9. Going to the movies. Middle-class Americans are spending less on leisure and entertainment because of rising costs. In the last 10 years, the average price of a movie ticket has doubled, and by 2021, it will cost $9.57. In many big city cinemas, tickets cost over $15. Including popcorn and confectionery, a family of 4 can spend almost $20 per person on a movie. The cost can add up quickly, which can be hard on working parents who are just trying to make ends meet. 10. Retirement savings. Gallup research showed that millions of middle-class workers can no longer save for retirement. 59% of respondents said that the main reason they don't save for retirement is because they don't have the money right now. About 20% of middle-class Americans who are 65 or older and haven't saved anything for retirement are worried that they won't be able to stop working when they want to. 11. Marriage. Middle-class families can't afford to get married. Many 30-year-old couples are postponing marriage owing to escalating costs, even though most people wait until they're financially stable. The average U.S. wedding costs $28,000, according to the Knot. Many middle-class families are postponing weddings because of this. 12. Going to the dentist. Over a third of the U.S. population, or 108 million people, lack dental coverage, and those who have had problems getting care. Dental insurance programs only cover 50% of more expensive operations like crowns and bridges, requiring hefty copayments. Middle-class Americans often delay or skip these procedures to save money. 1 in 4 20 to 64-year-olds had untreated dental caries. 13. Miss a paycheck. Theoretically, middle-class owners varied from low-income earners since they do not live paycheck to paycheck. However, in reality, over 60% of the U.S. population, or over 157 million adults, are currently living paycheck to paycheck. In other words, middle-class Americans are similarly pressured financially as low-income Americans, with around 2/3 or 67% unable to afford an unexpected $400 bill. 14. Childcare. Middle-class children have never been more expensive to raise. In 2022, a middle-income family will spend $286,000 raising a child from birth to age 17. Child care costs are rising at a 5% annual rate and currently account for 20% of a median income family's annual earnings. The high expense of child care leaves families with less money for housing, retirement, and savings, which are all essential. Researchers from the Center for American Progress noted. 15. Taking sick days. The U.S. is the only developed country that doesn't offer paid sick leave. Because of this, a lot of people have to decide whether to put money or health first. The Institute for Women's Policy Research says that most Americans can't afford sick leave that doesn't get paid. 40% of middle-class working women don't call out sick because they don't want their pay to go down. 16. Vacations. According to a survey conducted before the summer, most middle-class American households can't afford to vacation. Today, about 52% of middle-income earners say they can't go on vacation because they can't afford to buy big-ticket items. At least 47% say they have to give up other forms of entertainment, and 43% say they can't go on vacation because they can't afford to buy basic necessities like new shoes and clothes. 17. Eating healthy foods. We all know that better foods are more expensive than unhealthy foods. Organic foods are often 10 to 30% more expensive than processed meals. Even the most basic fruits and vegetables are up approximately 12% from a year ago. As a result, middle-class families are consuming more unhealthy foods than ever before, frequently opting for processed, high-calorie items because they cannot afford unprocessed, healthier options. 18. Holiday gifts. 46% of middle-income families can't afford all the Thanksgiving gifts they want this year, according to a survey. Most of the people who answered said they made between $50,000 and $99,999 per year, while just over 17% said they made between $100,000 and $124,999. The survey also found that 58% of them plan to go into debt to buy gifts for their loved ones this holiday season. 1/3 anticipate to spend between $500 and $750 on holiday gifts. 19. Live entertainment. According to Statistic Brain, the average concert ticket cost will be $108.20 in 2022. Likewise, the Team Marketing Report Fan Cost Index, which averages the cost for a family of 4 to attend sporting events, found that in 2021 a Major League Baseball game ran a family about $512, and this year an NFL game cost more than $1,046 per person. Needless to say, these have become extremely unaffordable family programs. 20. Hate their homes this winter. With present fast-rising energy prices, an increasing number of people face so-called energy poverty. According to new estimates, over 1/4 of the U.S. population is currently spending more than 10% of their net income on energy. People from families who exceed this 10% criterion are classified as energy poor. According to experts, less than 10% of the population faced energy poverty last year, but the proportion of energy poor has increased by more than 15% in the last year. High energy prices don't just affect low-income households, say economists. Undue economist and report author Maximilian Stockhausen says energy poverty is impacting the middle class. The number of so-called energy-poor people is growing, especially in the lower middle class. A person's needs-weighted net household income is 60 to 80% of the median between 2021 and May 2022. This economic class's energy poverty rate quadrupled to slightly under 41%. This winter is going to be very cold for many middle-class families. As global events speed, it's safe to conclude the worst is yet to come for many in our society. The golden days for the middle class in the U.S. are long gone. A perfect confluence of circumstances threatens to throw our nation into turmoil sooner than most people think. That's all for today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to hear more videos from our channel, subscribe and make sure to turn on the bell icon.